it's an incredibly important part of the overall stack. You can't have a robotaxi network without having actually Smart Summon working and functional. And so it's a big milestone that we have to see.
Well, I'm very glad you are here with me today because you follow Waymo and Cruise, Robotaxi, FSD. You're the guy that I've been going to just understand better. So this is the actual Smart Summon, right? This is now out there and is being now widely distributed, both hardware 3, AI 3 cars and AI 4 cars. Enables your car to come to you from anywhere in the parking lot. You can also send it to a location of your choosing, right? You can pick a location in a parking lot. And then I reported yesterday that the radius has gone up by 100 meters wide. So it's even much more wider how far you can go. Elon replied to that saying, you can summon a driverless Tesla from anywhere in the parking lot. And then he said, rapidly approaching the ability to summon from anywhere at all. What are your thoughts on what's happening there?
It's great to see this feature rolling out, and actually, it's a very positive sign in my view that the radius of the area that you could summon from is actually increasing, and not just increasing, but increasing quickly. Like, this is only the second version that had actually Smart Summon on it, and for them to actually be willing to go ahead and make improvements to its coverage area is a positive signal. Performance seems like it's really good. It fixes so many of the issues that old Smart Summon had. And if we see this really going out wide to the fleet, I think there's a very strong likelihood that this is going to go out wide to the whole fleet at this point in time. And I think that that would be one of those features that it's going to be a super wow factor for a lot of people. We've talked about the potential for it to have that ChatGPT moment effect. It also, though, increases the surface area for little minor incidents here and there. And so I think there will be a little bit of mixed noise around it. But overall, I'm really excited because this is something, like Elon said, it has to be able to operate well in parking lots. The pickup and drop-offs for any route are important parts of any robotaxi ride or, any fully autonomous summoning from a long distance location. And so the fact that they are rolling this out now is great. And we'll talk about this more, but it's cool to just see them executing on delivering a lot of the functionality that they laid out earlier this month to customers, not necessarily to all customers, but to at least some customers. And they're validating the software, they're validating the capabilities. And I think that we can expect that wide release here in the not too distant future. I don't know that we'll get it before 10.10, but I think that is something that most Tesla customers can expect to get in the next 3 to 6 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think while 12.5, some people are still not seeing the progress as much as they were hoping to, but we have been seeing quite a bit of progress, especially with actual Smart Summon. So when they first rolled it out, it was a little faster than the previous ones. Now it's even faster than the one they just did a couple of weeks ago. There's code saying that they might be releasing the need to press the button the whole time. It seems to be getting better at this point. So lots of little things have been improved there. So this is our friend Lincoln, mob of joggers. He said, Al Swami, who is the director of Autopilot at Tesla, is batting 1,000 so far, end-to-end on highway and Cybertruck FSD in 7 days. That's the last two that we're expecting. Tesla AI had sent this photo out, or this list out, and last month? They said, this is what we're going to accomplish in 2024. They had a list, and it looks like that they've accomplished that list, right? So 12.5.2, 3 times improved miles between necessary intervention. That's been done on AI3 hardware computers. That's been done. Actual Smart Summon, that's been done. It's going wide release. Cybertruck and now Autopark, we're seeing that going wide release. Now, eye tracking with sunglasses, that was part of the recent update. The only two that are still missing is end-to-end network on highway and Cybertruck FSD. And so this is, just a bit easier for people to see. This is what they said that they would get done by September. And we have 1 week left, September. This is what they'll do by October. Another version 13 with improved miles between necessary interventions. So Omar said only 2 points left to do for September. You have a week left. Cybertruck account, Tesla Cybertruck account came out, says waiting, Alice Swami, Ashok, we're waiting. But Ashok sent this, right? So this is a funny saying, oh God, putting the pressure on us. But, he probably wouldn't do this if he wasn't actually going to get it done. This is Wes. He's the Cybertruck program manager. And he said driving latest build tonight. So he's now basically telling you that I am driving a Cybertruck with the latest build on it. It ain't much, but it's on its work. So things looking like they're improving, eh?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of noise around this because, the words release roadmap to a lot of customers implies that, those features are going to be released wide to the whole fleet. And that's not necessarily how it looks like Tesla is interpreting that. I do think that as long as it's being released through beta and it's reaching a small group of the early access program, and then maybe a little bit beyond that, Tesla internally is considering that success on those milestones. So I think that to a lot of customers, they look at that list and they say, hey, I don't have a lot of those features because I'm still on 12.3.6. And so Tesla hasn't necessarily accomplished those things, even though they're crossed off there in red. But really, I think that for Tesla's purposes of validating the software, validating the capabilities, gathering some data to make sure that external, real world data matches their simulation and their expected results, that these things really are accomplished for their purposes and that they will be rolled out. That's why I said, I think 3 to 6 months is probably a reasonable expectation for everyone in the whole fleet to be able to receive these updates. As long as we do continue to see, like Cybertruck, we need to see it released to early access sometime, hopefully before 10.10. It might be close. Those were very, very, very ambitious timelines. And I mean, look at that giant list of things that they were trying to get done in September. That was a very significant list. And Cybertruck FSD is difficult. The full stack on highways is also a big one. Potentially, each of those might be a larger amount of lift internally for the team than a lot of the previous ones. And so there's a possibility that this could slip into October. I'm hoping that we do see those, on time or close to on time. But definitely would be understandable. This is very normal in software. When you set, especially such an aggressive target, that it might slip a little. I don't think that that's anything for people who are really watching closely to be too concerned about or too surprised by. But so far, the amount of features that they have delivered has been exceptional, and we have to give major props to the team.
No, thank you, Hans. I do think that this actual Smart Summit is a very important feature. I think that when it comes out and all of us are playing with this in random parking lots across the United States, the key thing is it can't just be a toy. It can't be like, oh, I'm going to check it out. I'm going to go to a parking lot. I'm going to play with it. It needs to be something that actually works. I'm actually going to leave a Target or Walmart or Costco, and I'm going to tell my wife, let's just sit here and wait for the car to come to us. If I'm waiting too long and it doesn't drive fast enough, I'm going to go, yeah, okay, it's interesting. But if actually is actually helpful feature, I'm going to do it. And if everybody's doing it, or a majority of people are doing it, then that is a potential for the ChatGPT moment. Let's watch AI Driver had a fantastic video of actual Smart Summit, the new improved version, back at Costco. Elon said your Tesla can now drive itself through complex parking lots to find you in reply to this video. So let's watch this. So right now I'm pretty happy with that speed. This is a good speed. I mean, Costco parking lot, there's nothing you can do. You have to, oh my God, how did it know to go around that car? How did it know to go around that car, right?
Yeah, I feel like that is a very impressive move right there. And then, waiting for the pedestrians, kind of signaling intent.
I'm just shocked that it did that, because normally you have to decide, is that car waiting for a parking, a car on the left trying to get out of a parking spot? Are they just slowed down before they move forward? It decided right away.
Yep.
Okay, there's a person right there with a cart. Yeah.
I have to give JD props too for being willing to, do this summon so far away and not be able to have eyes on the car more closely to intervene in case. Right. I mean, you have to put a lot of trust in this software in order to be willing to let it make its own decisions.
Well, but to be clear,
this type of an environment.
He can see it. He sees the video on his phone. He can see this, what we're saying.
Yep.
There he is. So that was very impressive. And I just to complete this, you got Elon saying Tesla can now drive itself through complex parking lots to find you. That was fantastic. If that was the case, I would definitely be using this. That wasn't slow. That was fast, as fast as I would have been driving it. And so I did not have to go, to get it. Also farts to say hi when it reaches you. So this is a new feature, right? Just for fun, I guess. When it reaches you and you stop it, it'll make a noise, an emission noise to say, "Hey, I've stopped." So that's pretty cool. So what's your thoughts? And I know you've had a discussion with this with a few others. What's your thinking about ASS?
Yeah, so the discussion that I had with Larry and with Nico this last week was really around just the release roadmap of all those different things. We didn't get too far into the weeds on actually Smart Summon itself, but it is extremely exciting to see what it's able to do. And like I said earlier, it's an incredibly important part of the overall stack. You can't have a robotaxi network without having actually Smart Summon working and functional. And so it's a big milestone that we have to see. The other little thing that I would encourage people to go watch is JD also had another stress test of actually Smart Summon in a different parking lot where it had to wait and be assertive in trying to pull out from a line of cars that were parked on either side into the outflow lanes. And there were, cars going by in both directions just constantly. It basically had to just nose out and cut somebody off and then quickly get into the other side in order to proceed. And it was patient, but when it needed to be aggressive, it was aggressive. It moved with confidence. And that type of maneuver, I felt like, was a really good positive indication of just the capability and the polish and the refinement of actually Smart Summon. This is something that I feel like we can have confidence in really being functional and something that we can expect to see in the hands of all customers soon, because it really is handling those difficult situations. And it's not something like the old Smart Summon where, it has some toy like applications where you feel like you could use it, but most of the time you just don't feel like it's practical. I think this is really, really, really a practical, functional piece of software this time around.
If it is, that's important. Okay, so let's switch gears. We're going to talk about Waymo. The co-CEO, her name is Takedra Mawakana. She was interviewed by the All In Summit podcast group, and they asked her a lot of good questions. First, we're going to do a clip of her talking about Uber as her partner. Then we'll do a clip of her talking about the unit economics. She kind of dances around that, of course. And then another clip about her selling to OEMs as licensing this. Let's watch this.
You're certainly going to see us announce new places, but you're also going to see, like in San Francisco, we launched a 24-hour service in a limited territory, and over time, we've expanded that territory.
Is it a step function in complexity to go to cities that are more, how would I call it, more chaotically city planned?
It is definitely an opportunity for the driver to learn more. And so coming to Los Angeles, for example, was more like being in Phoenix. Going to
Grids.
Austin, exactly. Going to Manhattan, we will certainly benefit from our work in San Francisco. Same thing with DC.
So start with the grid cities and work your way into more complex cities.
So can I follow up on the on that last point? I have a friend who's the third or fourth investor in Uber, and he's very worried that once this product scales, there's not really going to be a need for Uber anymore, right? Why would you need Uber if you can just summon the robot car directly, or the robot driver, whatever you want to call it, right? Driver, car, whatever. I mean, doesn't this logically disrupt Uber once it's at scale?
I think...
Well, Well, they're a current
As
partner.
I said, we have
friend
a
is very
partnership
concerned
with,
about this.
right. I mean, we have a partnership.
Your friend hasn't sold enough shares yet.
Your friend's doing just fine.
We have the partnership with Uber because we think it's important for us to create an AV ecosystem around this technology. Like, this isn't going to be, we've created technology and we're going to figure out everything ourselves. Like, that would be foolish and very expensive, and we'd never find ourselves profitable. But having companies that are experts in integration, having automotive partner, we're not building the car, having network partners, having fleet operating partners, public officials, like, there's a lot that is built around us. And these are the early days, the early innings. And so that's part of it, is learning. I'd say 5 years ago, people would say to me, network operators would say, oh, this is exactly, like, we know how to do this. Well, this is a constrained supply. It's not a supply you just surge. This is a driver that you need to understand actually how to operate with. And so I think we're going through those steps to learn together. And so what I would say is there's room for a lot of people under this tent.
Okay, so there's room, there's lots of partners. What's your thought of what she was saying there about the partner? By the way, the joke was that Jason Calacanis, who was sitting there, he was the one that invested in Uber, fifth or sixth investor. And so are they worried? Well, Waymo's partnered with Uber. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I feel like we could almost just do a cut back to the conversation that we had about this topic last week, because I feel like we called exactly, Waymo is trying to partner with anyone and everyone, or sorry, not Waymo, Uber is trying to partner with anyone and everyone who has driverless technology, whether that's Waymo, whether that's Cruise, then, other manufacturers. Like, their focus is trying to create this driver, and for that driver to be in software. And they do need a lot of help doing a lot of the other things, whether that's fleet management. She mentioned that specifically. That's something we talked about last week as well. One of the big value adds that Uber has to provide to Waymo, specifically, obviously, if Uber is using these robo-taxis, that provides a lot of value to Uber because they can have cars that they don't have to pay the drivers for. But on the flip side, Uber has done a whole lot of work to establish relationships with regulators and work in different municipalities. They operate at scale. They have a lot of infrastructure to handle the complexities of operating at scale. A lot of that is going to be necessary in order to do these rollout city by city if Waymo happens to be the first one rolling out to a specific jurisdiction, and being able to go through someone like Uber to help smooth that process, I think is an advantage for Waymo. But yeah, Waymo's just not a company right now that is built for scale. This is something we have talked about many times here in the Tesla community. And because they're not built for scale, that means that they have to think about these strategic partnerships, and then that all those strategic partnerships have to go right in order for them to reach scale, whether that's strategic partnerships with automotive manufacturers or strategic partnerships with people who can help them manage the regulatory environment at scale. And so, I think those are things that are extra risk in their business model. It's very obvious in the strategic position that they're in that these were going to be the types of partnerships that they would be forced into making for the specific reasons that we talked about.